everybody, it's Andrea. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have my 2020 Pan Those Eyeshadows finale and my 2021 Pan Those Eyeshadows intro. So I said in my last update that I didn't want to do separate finale and intro videos because I want to be able to keep filming these at the end of the month, and I wanted to give myself a full month of working on new shades, and it just made more sense for me to do it this way. So I'll try not to make this video super long, but I am changing things up for my project for 2021. So I'll go into that after we review my last color story for the year. As always, this project was started by Alexi, whose channel I will have linked down below. And you all know by now there are tons of people doing this project. So I am going to start with my 3 least used shades and go towards my most used. So the first shade that I've only used twice this month is Berry Blitz by Looksy Beauty. I've only used this 9 times total in the project, so obviously you can't even see any, there's no even dip going on in there. It's a very hard pressed matte. Then the next least used was Sour Bill from Pretties for Your Face. This is what it looks like. I've only used this 3 times in the past month, and it's been used 10 times since rolling into the project. And again, this is a pretty firmly pressed metallic shimmer shade, so you can't really see any difference in it, but I did use it 10 times. And then my third shade, I mean, I guess it doesn't even really matter because I'm totally rebooting this project, but I guess I should still swatch things. So there's Berry Blitz on top and there's Sour Bill. And then the third shade, which is showing, it's not really got a dip, but it's showing some disturbance. It's this shade right here, La Diosa Coronada, from my Cartagena Mágica palette from Nomad, which I really like this shade as it's a really good crease and transition color. There it is on the bottom there. I need to get something to wipe my fingers off with. Okay, and then the next shade that I used 4 times is my ColourPop Super Shock and Arrow, and I think you will see the pan. It took me 14 uses total to hit pan in this, which is really surprising to me because I feel like, for me at least, it's usually takes a long time to hit pan in Super Shock shadows, but I think it's getting dried out, so that's part of the reason. But I was so happy to finally hit pan in this one. And there it is. It is a really pretty shade, but again, I was ready, even though it had only been in a couple of months and I only used it 14 times, I was ready for it to go. Then the next shade is the dark green in my e.l.f. bite-sized hot jalapeno palette, and you will see that I hit pan in this one as well. It took me 23 uses, so I was kind of surprised when I tallied all the uses up because I felt like I used it so much more than 23 times. But I think that's just because it's been in the project for 3 months, so it just feels like I've been using it forever. Now, the one shade that I have been using forever is my shade No Spots from the ColourPop Misunderstood palette, and I did manage to hit pan in this one as well. I used this one, oh, I don't think I said, I used the e.l.f. one 11 times this month for a total of 23 times before I hit pan. I used this 20 times this month for a total of 53 times to hit pan. So yeah, ColourPop mattes especially, they're not messing around. I mean, I'll swatch it, but it's white. But that was my last color story for the year. So I didn't go like super in depth, but I did figure out, I did update my spreadsheet as much as I could, because I still do have things coming in, but they're not going to be in my spreadsheet until I actually receive them, which who knows when that's gonna be, but that's neither here nor there. So I hit 5 pans last year doing this project, which I started in July, I believe, of 2019, and I managed to hit 5 pans before the end of the year. Nathaniel, come on, man. This year, thanks mostly to this project, because some of these shadows I hit pan on outside of this project, but I hit 29 pans this year, which, considering last year was the first time I'd ever hit pan in an eyeshadow, I'm pretty happy with. Now, that being said, you can probably hear my son. He's just being 4. It's fine. So that being said, this is really embarrassing. I have 1,099 eyeshadows. Again, not including the ones that I still haven't gotten in the mail yet. And out of those 1,099, 1,060 are able to hit pan. The other 39 are, oh my God. Okay, my son had a little fit, so I think what I was saying was that I have 1,099 eyeshadows. 1,060 of those have the potential for pan, and I have 32 pans. So my pan percentage is at 3.02%. I was really hoping to get to 5% this year, but my little shopping binge this past fall kind of put the kibosh on that. So I'm going into 2021 with a new low buy and everything, and I'll talk about that in a later video, but hopefully not as many eyeshadows will be coming into my collection so that I can finally get that pan percentage moving up. So I'm going to insert some of the looks from the past month using these shadows, and then I'll get into how I'm setting up my project for 2021, and then we'll get to the really fun part, which is where we get to pick all new shadows. So I'll see you in a minute. I'm changing up how I do this project just a little bit. I was doing 6 shades, and I think that's just a little too much, especially with when I do have eyeshadows and other projects, and then I feel like I have to be focusing on these, and 6 is just a lot. So I'm dropping it down to 5. And I am also not picking them the same as I was last time. When I was doing 6, I would pick 3 from palettes and 3 from singles, but I felt like I was getting like I was getting shadows from the same palettes all the time. I was getting shadows from like the same block of singles all the time. So I totally redid my spreadsheet. Everything is in alphabetical order now, and I'm not going to differentiate between palettes or singles. I'm just picking 5 random shadows, whatever they may be. The third thing that I'm changing is everything has a 30 use, not limit, but if I have not hit pan by 30 uses and I want to roll it out, I can. And then obviously if it's something that can't have pan in it, like a liquid shadow or a loose eyeshadow or whatever, I have to use it 30 times before I can roll it out. I feel like that way I'm still getting good use out of my shadows, and it's enough uses where I can't like really power through and use them all in 1 month. I'm going to have to spread it out at least over 2 months, which will give me more options, because part of the reason I'm doing it this way, in 2020 when I was doing just 20 uses for like loose eyeshadows and things like that, I would try to like bam, 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 get them out as quickly as possible, but then I neglected everything else. And when I was having the 2-month limit for my pressed shadows, where I could roll it out if it had been in 2 months and I hadn't hit pan yet, I felt like sometimes I had barely used a shadow, so I kind of like felt guilty rolling it out, even though it's my project and I can do whatever I want, but I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. So I feel like 30 uses will be something I could still conceivably use a shadow 30 times in 2 months. I mean, depending on what kind of a shade it is. If I get another freaking cream shade, that sucker is gonna roll out after the first month, because I'm just gonna use it every day and then I won't have to worry about it anymore. But so 30 uses minimum before it can be rolled out. I don't obviously have to roll it out after 30 uses if I'm enjoying it and I think I'm close to hitting pan, but there are some shadows like the Say I Do from ColourPop where I used it like 58 times or whatever and there was barely a dip. I'm not gonna torture myself using shadows month after month after month like 200 times before I hit pan. That's not what I want to do. I want to rotate through my collection. And I feel like there was one more thing. Oh, and then finally, and I see a lot of people do this, like I'm just not gonna do duplicate shades. If I get one cream shade, it is what it is, that's fine. But I'm not gonna do 2 in the same month. I'm not gonna do 2 blacks. I'm not gonna do 2 dark browns. Like if there's not enough color variation in 2 shadows, I'm going to re-roll, because part of the point of this project is to have fun with it, and I'm not gonna have fun being like, okay, now I have 2 cream shadows that I have to hit pan on. So those were the 4 kind of new rules that I'm setting for myself. So now is the fun part, especially since like we're refreshing the project. So we get 5 all new shadows and I'm very excited. I'm a dork, I know, just let me have this, okay? I am prepared this time. I do have a pen and paper, so I did not take out the shadows that I have pan on because I figure it's such a small percentage of this list. There's not a big chance that I'm going to pick them, but if I pick them, I'll just roll again. So I'm going to generate my 5 numbers. So the first is 25, then 520, 1032, 16, wow, and 883. So I'm going to really quickly check to make sure that none of these are shadows that I have pan on, and then I will go get them and we'll look at my new shades for the month of January. Okay, so what I was hoping was going to happen is what happened. Doing this in alphabetical order, I have got 4 out of my 5 shades are from new shadows, which I want to get more use out of my old ones, but I also want to use my new ones. So I am very happy with this. I've kind of looked at the colors, but not really. So I'm going to go down the list in the order they were generated, not numerical order. The first number was 25, which is the shade Amanita from my Raw Beauty Kristi and ColourPop at Forest Sight palette. It's this purple right here. I have used this one time and it is a really beautiful shade. There it is right there. The second shade that was chosen was 520, which is the shade Laudanum. It is one of my Copacetic cosmetic singles, and besides swatching it, I've never used this even once. It's a really pretty, like, coppery brown color. It looks a little more red in the pan than it does on my hand though. But that could just be the lighting or the angle that I'm holding my hand as well. Okay, number 1032 is the shade Ube from Looksy Beauty. It is this beautiful like sheer purple base with green duochrome that will pair really nicely with Amanita, so I'm very happy about that. Plus, I feel like out of all the shadows, Ube is the one that I have the most chance of hitting pan within the first month. And then number 16 was the one shadow that's from an older palette. It is from my Frida Kahlo and Ulta Beauty palette, and it is the shade Agave. So I just cannot get away from these forest green shadows, I guess, but I mean, it looks pretty much exactly the same as that shadow that was in the e.l.f. palette from last time, but that's fine. Use it 30 times and roll it out because I don't think I'm going to hit pan on it, but that's fine. And then the last one is shade number 883, which comes from my Nubian Royal palette. It is just shade number 6, which is the pressed glitter in it. So while I don't have a problem with using pressed glitters, I don't know how much I'm going to use this, but it's pretty. So that is my first color story for 2021. I am super excited to reboot and refresh this project and change things up a little bit, and I cannot wait to start using these. Like, this is what I love about starting over in the new year with new projects. Like, you get so excited about using some new products and new items. So I hope you are all having a wonderful day. I hope your holidays have been and will continue to go well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!